I think things are going to be cooling down, and we don't need to be doing those chemtrails anymore because the volcanoes are taking care of everything just as I said it would. And we don't have to worry about global warming because the planet knows how to take care of itself. So when the planet overheats, the volcanoes go off, throws all that ash up into the air and cools things down and brings things back to normal. So it's a natural process. We don't need to poison all the citizens in these harebrained schemes, which, according to the UN, they just banned chemtrails. So we'll see where that goes. It's almost like the fox, telling the coyotes, we're going to stop, so we're going to stop eating chickens, so, it's one of those things, but we'll see. Hopefully, this will work out and they'll stop, spraying us with all those carcinogenic chemicals and biologicals and dumbing everybody down with the aluminum and raising the pH of the soil and the water and everything else. And I strongly suggest go on YouTube, find the links for what are they spraying and go and see it. Watch it all the way through. What on earth are they spraying? Just Google it. There's several. There's a Vimo link for it. There's a couple other links on it. It's all over the internet. But definitely watch that. Watch that movie all the way through. They don't get into depth what's really going on. It's much deeper, but they do cover most of it. And basically what they did was they covered things that were completely provable that you could not discredit. So they could go into the other theories in another show, but what they did cover was just amazing, and we'll have to get them on the show. They'll probably be one of our next guests coming up here real soon.
Hey, James.
Yeah, we got you back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I think we're okay. I've been hanging in there for a while. That's
great.
Good stuff, man. I like what you're saying, and I thought it was pretty interesting that things with the Skype went a little funky, right? When you talked about the veil being thin, and then you talked about the veil being double thin, and then next thing you know, I'm thrown out into outer space, and it took me a minute to get back to you, but glad to be back.
I thought the witches did a flyover, a goblin got you or something. I wasn't sure.
Well, they may have. I disappeared for a few minutes, and then I had to kind of find my way back, and I eventually did. So
those things happen on Halloween.
Yep, indeed they do.
Yeah, have you been following this chemtrail issue?
Yeah, I am, at least to some extent, and it is, very disconcerting. I don't know how they can continue to spray that stuff without us really knowing what it is, and I can't believe that there isn't a bit more of an uproar about it.
Yeah, just what it's doing to nature, just really, that's the part that upsets me, because we got away from the cities, we got out in the middle of nowhere, and we're going to live a real wholesome spiritual life, in unity with harmony, in harmony with nature, and grow our own food and everything else, and what they're putting on the soil, and it's burning the leaves of the tree. The fruit has this white pasty stuff on it, spraying down from the sky. It's covering the windows. It's people are getting sick everywhere. And, it's undeniable. They've actually measured what's coming down and 60,000 times the safe allowable amounts of aluminum are raining down on us, and barium and strontium, and it's so far over the limit of anything safe. It's just basically we're being sprayed by like insignificant bugs, and the movie.
Yeah, I mean they could be trying to tinker with our DNA too,
Yeah. Well, yeah, all they're biologicals, they're fine. They didn't cover the biological aspect of it, but they definitely did cover the strontium, the aluminum, and the barium, all of which have very severe side effects. And, they're poison. They're toxic. They're poison. End of story. It's like
yeah.
Not too much more to say about that one, but
that's the real horror story on Halloween here.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to go too far to find a real horror story. All you have to do is look at what's going on in our government. the ultimate horror story, and that.
Yeah.
But we were told this would happen. All the Native American prophecies talked about this, and they said the beast is going to become so big and so fat and so ugly, it finally consumes itself. But before it does, it looks like it's trying to consume and dominate everything and everyone, and and that's where it's at right now. It's at the height of its fall, I'd like to say.
Yeah, which is all the reason more for everybody listening to this and everybody out there to claim your own personal space, connect with your own inner power, and don't look to the outside to find the fulfillment that you long for. Seek for it on your own, search for it, and be independent, and be strong, and be hardy, and reconnect with the land, and find your spirit. And that's the best thing we can do to transmute this energy and make it so that we will have a future.
Exactly. We were given these divine rights, and some people talk about the Constitution, but I don't even think you need the Constitution. It's a great document, but these are, innate, inalienable divine rights given to us by the Creator, or whatever you want to call it, whatever name you want to give it. But I always feel we do have the right to live a thoroughly loving, blissful, joyous life in harmony with each other and nature, and we don't really need all this oppression and legalized extortion and all these other programs that are running right now. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that things are getting more oppressive, more controlling, more dominating, and everything is just going in the toilet fast. The health industry is totally in the toilet. The defense industry is the offense industry, and the major corporations are running everything right now. So if you need a Halloween horror story, just look at what's going on all around you.
Yeah, I'd still encourage that being the case to each. This is why I think, as you said, I'm a musician, and part of this, they're trying to take music out of the schools and trying to cut back on art and all this kind of thing, because this is where the human spirit finds its flowering, and this is not a control issue. It's an expression issue. It's a creativity issue. It's a life issue. So to be creative is to be life, and is the perfect antidote to that oppression.
Oh, I agree 100%. It's when you're in touch with your creativity, you're in touch with the source, and the source wants to create through you in its own unique way. And it seems like the more they squash and oppress these programs, the more they create these little robots, which is really what they want.
Yeah, but they'll never succeed. What it does is it creates a pressure cooker, and all these kids are just, they don't understand it, and they don't have any freedom, and they're getting their heads packed full of all this stuff. But meanwhile, what they're being shown and what they're being demonstrated to in the TV culture and with many of their parents is a great irresponsibility. So they're not finding any guidance or any friendship. They're getting lost, and and all these energies get swarming around, and it's no wonder you see all the things you do with these kids, and they're lashing out, or they're seeking empty roads to find some kind of consolation for what they're not finding. They're just seeking for any kind of an answer that makes any sense at all.
Well, it sure doesn't make sense where we've come to. That's for sure. The nuclear family and everything else that we're doing, and I find it interesting too. And I am not trying to be a downer, but I know how we've been led down this path, and now that process has gotten so huge, and people are trapped. We've given up all our freedom because of these terror programs and these other things running, and the TV blaring and constantly, and you should be very afraid. This is, orange alert or red alert, or they keep catching these guys that aren't really who they think they are, or who we're told they are. It's pretty crazy, but I don't want to get into that whole thing. But I think, it'd be a good time to just start throwing your TV out the window and get back into nature and get back into the natural flow of things.
Well, definitely get back to nature any way you can, and you'd be surprised how rejuvenating it is to just sit out in the sun for a half hour, or take a few deep breaths on a cool evening, or just take a swim in a pool or a pond or a puddle.
Yeah.
Anything you can do, the natural world is there. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's just like you say, we're getting closed in on ourselves and all this TV culture and whatnot. It gives you an alternate, very small reality, a very sick reality, and you can get outside of that. You just have to see it for what it is and get inner space from it. And one of the best ways to do that is to ground yourself in nature somehow, any way you can. Get back to nature.
I agree. I find out the more you get into nature, the more nature gets into you, and it's very, very healing for one thing, but if you spend enough time in nature, you start opening up, and all these other abilities start opening up, and you realize, like, wait a second, this physical world isn't really all it's cracked up to be, that there's some non-physical aspects to it, and I'm sure you've probably experienced some of those in your walk. Whoops. Looks like we lost him again. I guess we're not supposed to talk about those unseen things tonight because they're turning off our radios. But anyway, that being said, it looks like we might have him back on.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, now that's interesting.
Sorry about that, James. I don't know what's going on, but let's just make the best of it. I think we're okay.
Yeah, no, I want to throw a fit and jump up and down and get upset.
Hey, you.
We had, I just did a 4-way Skype call on another show with 4 different people. It was so hilarious because, all these sounds started coming over the air, and, Alfred Weber, everybody knows him, he's Exopolitics. He's doing rap, he's like, it was like totally rapping when he was talking. It was so hilarious, and we were all just on the floor laughing. And the technician was going, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" And he's like freaking out, and everybody on the air is just having a ball with it. It was so hilarious. It was probably one of the funniest shows I've done. But people were popping on, and I was the only one that stayed on miraculously, because usually I'm the guy that gets thrown off the air.
Yeah, man, it seems like you got a good hang of just kind of rolling with it, and we're on to the next thing, and all is as it should be, and whatever happens, happens, I
keep having this light flash and this thing standing next to me here, so.
You still got the green entity, huh?
Yeah, it's interesting. It keeps kind of appearing over here on my right, this kind of a flash of light, and something's there. I'll have to sit down.
Let's talk about that a little bit, about how people can notice that. That's one thing that, like I said, I think these people or entities are all around us a lot of the time, and we just have to kind of recognize they're there. And one of the big techniques that I've found is to not doubt your first inclination, because oftentimes you'll feel like right in the initial contact what it is, but then somehow your mind will rationalize it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually, because I'm kind of distracted. I'm doing the show here right now, and this flash is going on. I'm trying to keep my focus on the show. So I'll talk to it later, whatever it is, and find out what it is. But I find it interesting. We at the Halloween party going on, we just took some photographs in there, and oh boy, it's like there must be 2,000 or 3,000 people in that room, with all the orbs and everything else showing up. It's just there was like wall-to-wall orbs, great, real bright ones, great big ones. And there's some kids playing around in there, and they love kids. They really come for the kids. Definitely the veils are very thin.